I've given a lot of talks to a lot of people, and I've never had an intro like that. And I think I'm really hot now, so I'm probably really red. So just let that calm down for a minute. I'm really excited to be here today. As Tyus mentioned, I graduated in 2011 with a double major in psychology and sociology with a concentration in criminology. And I was that over-involved Valpo student. I was involved in way too many things. I didn't know how to say no, but I have not one regret on that. I learned more from my involvement there than pretty much anything else, and I'll touch on that in a little bit. But it's an honor and a joy to be here. So I thank you for taking some time out of your, is it Wednesday evening to be with me today, and I'm really excited to share a little bit about my story. So we're going to talk about a few different things today. We'll talk about my pathway to purpose, so how I came from being here at Valpo, like I said, an over-involved student, to an executive at a startup in Chicago. What the difference between for-profit, non-profit, social enterprise is, why we as a company choose to spend our time behind bars and serve the incarcerated, and then I'll close with some success stories from Edovo and an actual user video that you can watch. Okay, so first things first, I was at Valpo. As Tyus and I mentioned, psychology, sociology, concentrated in criminology. I was that over-involved student. I was a Pi Beta Phi. I see some of my girls over there. I was a Resmin. I was on panel night council. Pretty sure I started a criminology club at one point that didn't go anywhere. I was that complete Valpo nerd. But through those experiences outside the classroom, those experiences are what better prepared me for my life in a career, as a career woman, than I could have ever imagined. So as students, I recommend that you all get very involved, get on an executive board, do something with your time here. It will benefit you greatly in your future. That being said, I would love to get a feel for the room. So I see a bunch of students and some Greek life, right? Greek life, yes. And then some more community. Tell me where you guys are from.
Steve Lawrence, I'm the jail commander of the Porter County Jail.
Awesome, perfect. Who else do I got? I've got some professors in here. Okay.
I have my program director with me, he's a little shy.
Excellent. Thanks for coming. And then in terms of the students, why are you guys here? Are you interested in criminology? Is it just because this is a great way to spend your Wednesday night? You really wanted to hear me talk? Give me some feedback.
I'm a crim and psych double major.
Perfect. Awesome. What else do we got?
That digital media kind of track, so the whole technology thing.
Awesome. Great.
I work for the victims assistants here at the Porter County Prosecutor's Office.
Awesome. That's really helpful. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Okay. I just said all these great things about being over-involved and all the clubs that I was involved in. Being in the classroom is really important too, just so you know. In fact, I still remember sitting in Bartush's class talking about the Bureau of Justice Statistics and how to read that data, and I even am using some in this presentation today. So pay attention in class because you will use it in your future, like I am today. And I do on a daily basis, not just when I'm giving presentations. All right, so my first job out of school was about as boring as this slide. Not even kidding. So I got a job in sales. I was a managed print services consultant. That's a fancy way of saying that I sold printers and print services to companies in Chicago. It was not fun. I got kicked out of buildings for cold calling, which is going and knocking on doors and asking for information about the company. So I got kicked out of buildings, and I was just not happy. It was brutal. I would call my parents weekly on Wednesdays crying because I was so sick of it by Wednesday of the week every week, and they started calling it Weepy Wednesdays. That's just how miserable I was. So very quickly into this job, I started looking for a different company. And the reason that I wanted to be at a different company wasn't because I hated what my company was doing. I just didn't like their mission behind it. If these companies that I was talking to on a daily basis didn't need printer services and they needed desk chairs, my company wanted me to figure out a way to sell them desk chairs. That's not what I was trained on. I don't care about desk chairs. We don't sell desk chairs. So it was just not a company that aligned with the integrity that I grew and had from being at Valpo. So I quickly looked for a new job, which led me to DocuLabs. This is also a very boring slide. But at the end of the day, it's actually really interesting when you know what you're talking about. So DocuLabs, while still pretty boring, unfortunately, was a company with integrity. They wanted to help people get better about their daily jobs. So what I was doing there, it's an information management consulting firm. So essentially what they would do is they would analyze Fortune 100 information management best practices. So they would go in and they would say, okay, how do you manage your email, your paper documents, your electronic documents on a daily basis? And how unorganized are they? So for example, you use G Drive here for all of your documents, is that what you use? Okay, and you have your own folders, right? Like you have your Psych 101 folder and your Chem 203 folder, right? Is that what you typically do? Yeah? No? Maybe so? Or you have like your entire drive of all of your documents, they're not in any folders, it's completely unorganized and you have to search for things, right? Yeah, see, there are some people that do that. So that's just your own folder. Now think about the size of a Fortune 100 company. There's 200,000, 500,000 employees at these companies, and they have all of this information that they're paying for storage and they need to find this stuff. That's what this company did. They helped them organize their stuff better, and that's actually what this slide does. Shockingly, it helps them find their information better and organize, build an information architecture is what it was called. Okay, that's my little side note. I was at this company for about 4 years. I started as an inside sales rep, so I was calling people and I was introducing ourselves to net new clients. Within 3 years, not to toot my own horn, I will tell you why I'm going to share this information with you. Within 3 years, I had moved from an inside sales representative to the practice leader, the partner responsible for all new business at the company. So last year in 2015, as a 26-year-old, I would have taken home over 6 figures. 26 years old, over 6 figures. I had it made. I had the perfect job, I had a cush life, it was stable, and I was an executive. I was a key executive at 26 years old. Do you see how boring this slide is? I was bored out of my mind. This is not something that interested me. I was interested in psychology and criminology and being in jails and prisons. I don't know why, but that's what I was interested in. So I started looking for a new job. I started thinking about my life, where I could be in 6 years, and I could be making a lot of money. I could be the president of this firm, but it was just not what I wanted. So I started looking for a new job. I missed my background, I missed my passion, I missed what I used to think about over at Westville Correctional Facility when I was over there. And it was just not what I wanted anymore, being at DocuLabs. Luckily, I did a search for all the startups in Chicago, actually. The reason I looked for startups is because I liked the new and exciting lifestyle that startups often bring. You don't get much sleep because you're working constantly. It's a small team. You fight with each other constantly because you're brothers and sisters at the end of the day because there's like 10 of you that are running this company. And things change every day, so it's really exciting to be there. So I started thinking about startups. And again, I missed my corrections background. So ideally, I would find something in corrections and startups, right? That's not going to happen. That doesn't really exist. Cue Edovo. It did exist. So when I found Edovo, I was super excited because this was exactly what I wanted. I could use the past 5 years of my life, the experience that I had gained being in the business world, but then I could also go back to my roots, go back to my passion about being in corrections. So 3 weeks later after finding Edovo, I started and I had my first day, which is really exciting. So I went from my cush, stable lifestyle at DocuLabs to a risky, not so stable, not so well-paying startup in Chicago, and it was the best decision of my life.